Hello, my name is Chase Yarbrough. I'm a hospitalist at Brigham and Women's Hospital and Boston Children's Hospital. I live in Wayland, which is in Middlesex County. There have been a couple of EEE cases here this summer, and so I thought it might be interesting for the community if I put together a brief review of the disease. So Eastern equine encephalitis virus is a toga virus, first identified from infected horse brains in 1933. The toga viruses are named after the Roman toga, as it was thought that the viral envelope resembled the toga as it cloaked the virus. You can see a picture of the viral envelope here. Doesn't look a whole lot like a toga to me, but to each his own. So interestingly, there have been several outbreaks of EEE in the New England area. You can see the first reported outbreak was in Massachusetts in 1938, and that outbreak killed 25 people. And you probably can't quite see, but Middlesex County is down here, and there were 25 cases, not all fatal, from Middlesex County in that year. Here's a review of the life cycle of the EEE virus. The usual host of the virus are songbirds, and the usual vector is the Colosetta melanura mosquito, which may not be a mosquito you've heard of before, likely because it's a mosquito that doesn't typically feed on people, and so it doesn't usually cause human disease. So this is a mosquito that tends to seek out its prey in the canopy, and so it doesn't typically come down to where people are walking around except when it's breeding. And so more commonly people will get this virus from mosquitoes that typically feed on people, like the Aedes mosquito. And so that mosquito will feed on an infected songbird and then feed on a person and transmit the virus that way. Humans and other mammals like horses are referred to as dead-end hosts for this virus, which basically means that it's not evolutionarily advantageous for the virus to infect people or horses, because as you can imagine, if the virus kills the host very quickly and causes severe disease, it's not likely to be able to spread well and to survive. Here we will describe the typical case presentation for the virus. So the incubation period is typically between 4 and 10 days, and infection can result in a febrile illness and or neurologic disease. So if you are lucky and just get a febrile illness, then that can present with just muscle pain and fever and just generally feeling unwell, and that can last 1 to 2 weeks. Or you can develop a severe neurologic disease that manifests as headache, confusion, and somnolence. About a third of the people who develop severe EEE will die, so it's a fairly morbid disease. And many people who do develop severe EEE, if they survive, will be left with long-term neurologic problems. Here's a map of the current epidemiology from the Department of Public Health. So the red areas, the more red, or orange I guess, indicate a higher risk of contracting EEE, and this map is derived both from detected human cases but also surveys of mosquitoes. And so you can see Wayland here in Middlesex County, and we're in the light orange, so we're at an elevated risk compared to Boston and much of Massachusetts, but not quite as bad as Worcester. Here are the reported cases in Massachusetts this summer. So you can see there's 2 in Middlesex County. They've all been adults, and there have been, these all represent severe disease with either encephalitis or meningoencephalitis. These are the neurologic versions of the disease. And the most recent was August 22nd, so a couple weeks ago. So how to prevent contracting triple E virus? So, anyone who spends time in an infected area is at risk. So, it's important to do as much as you can to decrease your risk, but you're not going to get down to zero risk if you're in areas where there are mosquitoes harboring this virus. Things you can do to decrease your risk: so you can wear long sleeves and long pants. Avoid peak mosquito biting hours. So the peak hours are from dusk to dawn. Although you should recognize that bites can happen anytime. And you can decrease breeding habitat on your property by decreasing any standing water as much as that is under your control. A few closing comments. So the population of Middlesex County is 1.6 million. So there have been 2 cases reported. So you can see the odds are still very low. It is a severe disease, and you do want to do everything you can to prevent contracting it. But there's no need to panic. It's still very rare. The other thing to think about is when is the risk going to decrease? So mosquitoes start to die off when temperatures get below 50 degrees, and so we're getting close to that. We're not there yet. Looking at the forecast, I think Sunday there's a low of 48, and so we're starting to get to the point where hopefully if we get some colder evenings, the mosquitoes will die off, but we're not there yet, and so I would still be vigilant. All right, well, thank you for listening to this brief presentation, and feel free to post any questions in the comments.